One of the biggest things is vetting who you're investing with, which is the scariest part, because I'm going to tell you, I've invested with some folks that turned out not to be the best idea. It just wasn't good. Transparency is key. So if you ask people a question, and we know how to talk to people. When you talk to somebody, don't get scared because they're talking numbers. Don't get scared because they're talking things you don't really understand. That's okay. They should be able to make you understand it. This is one of my biggest things about medicine. When you go to the doctor should be able to make you understand, help you understand what they're talking about. It's not rocket science. You can understand it. So if they're not trying to help you understand it, I wouldn't go there. I would just go to the next one.
Welcome to the Share the Wealth Show, where minority professionals can learn to escape the racial wealth gap and catapult themselves into abundance. Your host, Nicole Pendergrass, grew her net worth from being negative to multiple six figures. Join her on her investigative mission to expose secret strategies of the wealthy so we can all have the tools needed to build the life and legacy we were created to possess. Now it's time for the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Share the Wealth Show. I'm your host, Nicole Pendergrass, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Felecia Froe. Now, Felecia really dug in on how she was so scared doing her first real estate deal, and then even how she's still scared every time she's about to do a deal today. How the fear never goes away, but you have to move through and progress through your fear in order to get to the other side and to continue growing. She also talked about how being a doctor, when she realized that that wasn't the last thing that she wanted to do with her life. And she started on a journey from then, trying to make her money work for her and also work for other people and giving back with a purpose. So Dr. Felecia Froe is an MD and the owner of Money with Mission. That's an investment company focused on empowering professional women to build wealth and achieve financial freedom through social impact investing. And as a real estate syndicator, Felecia has partnered with like-minded investors and has raised money for several social impact projects, including a residential assisted living facility in Kansas City, and also with her partners at Eco Alliance Group, providing healthy food in a food desert area by building a grocery store and vertical integrated farms that can feed that grocery store. So you decrease that farm to table experience because, like she explained in the show, as soon as food gets picked from the vine or wherever it's picked from, it starts losing nutritional value. And if we have to source food from a long way away, the food that gets to the grocery stores is not going to be optimized. So there's just so many things that your money can do for you and to help you move forward and to actually get a return on your investment at the same time as doing good. This conversation is not one to be missed. Dr. Froe is also a licensed urological surgeon with over 20 years of experience, and she's written many best-selling books, including How to Create Wealth That Outlives You, which she is including for free for our listeners. So if you want that, you got to listen to the episode to get the URL or to get the email. You have to email to get that. I'm actually about to email it right now so I can get my copy. So don't email me looking for a copy. Email her. You'll get it. But anyway, she is an advocate for sharing great work for others and doing in their community through her podcast, Money with a Mission. So tune into that, because if you are interested in social impact investing, she has guests on a regular basis who are doing a multitude of different investing strategies and making a huge impact in society. So if you want to get connected with that, I highly recommend her podcast as well. You will not go wrong, but I'm getting to the point. Let's get this show started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back again to another episode of the Share the Wealth Show. And today we have with us Dr. Felecia Froe. And I just read high-level overview of your bio and what you've done. And I know you've had a long, extensive journey and a lot of experience. So from that journey, Is there any one particular thing that was like that aha moment or that revelation that kind of made you transition to what you're doing today?
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me.
Sorry, I didn't even give you time to say hi.
That's okay.
I'm just so excited to get started because I know this is going to be great.
I'm excited to be here with you, and congratulations on everything you're getting done. I'm really, really excited to watch you progress and watch everything that you're doing. I'm super excited and looking forward to working with you a lot more.
Thank you.
So
Same
you
here.
said I've had this really long journey, which makes me sound old.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't mean long. I mean very enriched journey.
I have had a journey, and as you said, I'm a physician, a urologist. Started that, a long time ago. Been doing that for over 30 years, but it was about less than 5 years in when I realized that it wasn't the last thing I was ever going to do. And I can't say I knew why. I can't say I knew what I was going to do next. I just knew this wasn't the only thing. Like many people, and like a lot of people who are listening to this, we learned, and I learned from my parents, go to school, get a job, work there forever, and get a high paying job so you make a lot of money, and just keep doing that until you retire, and then you can do whatever you want in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what year it was, but I was in Kansas City and I started working with this group of female physicians. We bought a building. So that was my first real estate thing to buy that wasn't my own house. And I met a woman, a business owner who had started her own insurance company, an insurance company for truckers. And she introduced me to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Purple Book, which I know a lot of people read that book, but that book was the beginning of me realizing that money isn't what I thought money was, which is something you got, something you spent, something you used to buy things with, but it's a tool, there's assets, there's liabilities, just all the language that I never had learned anything about. And it was through reading those books, playing Cash Flow 101, the game that came with the book, or that is around the book, it didn't come with the book, that we started on the real estate journey and realized that passive income, not our daily grind income that comes when you're sleeping, is the way we wanted to ultimately build our wealth. And I can't say we came to that conclusion all at one time. It's been a journey, just like you said, getting to where we are today.
Yeah. So you said that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that was the main thing that kind of changed your mind. But before that, you actually invested in this apartment building. You said it was an apartment building, right?
No, it was a medical building. We bought our practice. Yes.
Oh, for your practice. Okay. Because I was going to ask what made you join this group of women to buy this building, but that makes sense because it had to do with the medical practice and you guys owning the building that you were going to have your business out of.
And it never went further than that in my mind. I didn't think anything about it more than owning a building that we worked in. The asset didn't click for me, that it was a really good financial thing to do. It was just like, oh yeah, this building's available. It's fine. I don't know what I was thinking about at the time, but it wasn't the way I think about things now. I don't have that building anymore, and I wish we did, but I don't. But that meeting those women was, I think, part of the journey that got me to where I am today.
Okay.
It was more about the women than the actual the asset that we purchased.
Yeah. Now, what about the insurance agent who gave you the Rich Dad Poor Dad book? Like, how did you meet her?
I met her through the women physicians, and there was three of us in that group that broke, or two of us in that group that broke off and went with Cheryl, started working with Cheryl also, and we were going to build a different type of, we called it the Women's Life Center, a place for women to go to rejuvenate, refresh. We were a little bit ahead of our time. And so that never really took off, but in our meetings of getting that together, she and I we clicked, and she introduced me to that book. We never even really talked about real estate she owned. We didn't really talk about, I just knew about her business, and we kind of lost touch over time. A lot of things happened, blah, blah, blah. She helped me a lot in my medical practice with what I was doing. It was actually a patient of mine who would come in, a relatively young woman who would come in, how people a lot of times can't come at certain times because they have a job, they have to go do their thing. She could come whatever time we said she could come.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked her, well, Jamie, what do you do? And she said, I'm a real estate investor. And she was just like kind of off the cuff, a real estate investor. I was like, huh. And I already had read the book and I was already knew something. And so we spent probably half of that appointment and several of her next appointments talking about real estate investing. And not
Did you bill her for the full time?
I'm sure I did. Sure I did. And then one day, we were looking, and we came across this property. My family and I came across this property. And I called her and she went with me to look at it. And it was this little house in this kind of up and coming area in Kansas City where we lived, and walked through it. And, I'm scared, it's your first one, you're scared. That fear is just there. I was like, oh my gosh, when I tell you the details of this deal, you'll be like, why were you scared? But I was scared. So James said to me, if you don't buy this house, I'm going to buy it. If you buy it, you can use our crew to rehab it. If you buy it and you can't rent it and you're losing money, I'll buy it from you. I'm like, wow. Okay, I guess I got nothing to lose. Now, here's the scary part was that it was a VA assumption, and all I needed out of my pocket was $500 to buy that house.
You can assume a VA loan?
Back in the day, you could.
Oh, man.
Back in the day,
okay.
$500. We needed the money to rehab it. We needed all that. But for $500, I could own this house. So now that's like, why was I scared of that? But then I was afraid. It's like, what if it doesn't rent? What if all the things that
Yeah.
So she kind of took the whole thing, all the fear away from it, the fear of it away, because she gave me my backstop. And so we were off and running. And with that, and having read the book and played the game, we thought we knew what the heck we were doing. And off. And like in the next 2 years, we accumulated like 18 properties, and we're just rehabbing and renting and, doing all the stuff. There we were in.
Nice. Well, that's part of the journey, is just jumping in and jumping through your fear and just going. And honestly, she kind of took your fear away, because she gave you that backup, that she was going to buy it if things didn't work out. So that was, fantastic. Not everybody has that, but I want people to learn from our experiences here today and throughout this show to let you know that, there are people out there who are willing to help you and guide you along the way with whatever journey you decide.
And just the fear didn't go away. I mean, I was still afraid. I just did it, and I trusted that she would be there. Now, of course, there was no guarantee she would be there, right? But you do have to just walk through that fear and trust that whatever happens, everything's going to be okay in the end. I think that's what I've learned over all this time, is that figuring out money is and making money what it really is, which is an energy and not a thing. We put so much emotion to money.
Mm-hmm.
When we realize that there's a bunch of it everywhere, and we just got to figure out how to get it to us and then put it out into the world to help other people and get it back to us, it makes life a little easier.
Yeah.
I agree. The fear doesn't go away. I'm just going to say that. I don't think so far it hasn't gone away. Every time I'm about to do a deal, I get afraid. I'm afraid something's going to go wrong. I really am.
Yeah. Well, that's honest, and that's how it works. And you just, the thing is, even with the fear, you still just have to move forward, and you being able to conquer your fear and just move, and actually not conquer, because you still deal with it. You just hold it and grasp it and embrace it and do the thing anyway, and
exactly.
Otherwise you'll be paralyzed by fear, and you won't get anything done.
Won't get anything done being paralyzed by fear, 100%.
Okay. So you now focus on multifamily, or what other commercial assets? I know you're on the commercial side.
It's not strictly commercial. It's more about social impact. So whatever real estate we can get into that's going to have an impact. So our most recent thing is grocery store in a food desert. So we opened a grocery store in a food desert, have an operator in the building. We don't run the grocery store. We own the real estate. And the other things I think about are affordable housing and making sure that whatever we're investing in Money with Mission and with our foundation is going to have a positive social impact. food right now is huge, and there's so many places in the country and in the world where there's not enough food, when there just shouldn't be. And there's not enough nutritious food in some places. The place where we put our grocery store hadn't had a grocery store in over 10 years. And the people of this part of town had an 11-year less life expectancy than people 5 miles away in the southern part of the town. So I live in Tulsa. So in North Tulsa, life expectancy 11 years less than people in South Tulsa. Lots of reasons. Health has got to be a big one, right? So if you can't get fresh food, you could get food at Quick Trip, and you can buy, there's 14 fast food restaurants in a 2-block area in my neighborhood. 14.
Wow.
Fortunately, our grocery stores in there too, so people can come to the grocery store and get some fresh produce. But we wonder why obesity and diabetes and all these things are so huge in the country, in our population, amongst Black people. It's lack of the ability to get good, nutritious food. I'm working with some other folks for getting the supply chain shorter, so that food is closer to where you are, and we don't have to get our food in the Midwest from California and Arizona and Florida, where they pick it, or South America, wherever it's coming from, where they have to pick it before it's ready to be picked. And as soon as the food is picked, or as soon as the produce is off the vine, it starts losing nutritional value. So that by the time it gets to us, it's just food. It has some nutritional value, but not the nutritional value it should have. So we're working to get land where farmers are growing food closer to where it's going to be consumed.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. There's a lot of moving parts. And the fact that you did the grocery store, now you're trying to source the actual food that's going into the grocery store, that's great. That's definitely well-rounded and a holistic view of the issue.
It's about, and all, did I think about this when I first started? Did I plan it? Not at all. Not at all. It was, okay, grocery store. And then I started meeting people who were really looking at it, people doing mobile grocery stores, trying to take the food to people, those kinds of things. And this just kind of all is evolving as we go, which I think is the one thing that I've learned over time, is that once you take that first step, no matter what it is, you may not end up at the goal you thought, but so many things are going to happen along your way that you get to where you're supposed to be. Bottom line is what I'm saying.
That is great. That's very true, because the universe just opens up and people see what you're doing. And then people who are already like engulfed and entrenched in that field or that subject matter, approach you for more opportunities. So you just never know. You just have to keep an open mind and be able to shift and pivot to where, the opportunity comes, and things will just end up being in alignment.
They do. So for me, the building wealth part and leaving a legacy go together. And the legacy that I want is that I've made a big impact wherever we invested our money. And I'm very much about making money. Don't get me wrong. I think you should get a return. You send your money out. There is some, you want it to have a positive impact wherever it goes, but you also want your money to come back with some friends so that you can have the life that you want. I like stuff as much as the next person. I really do. So I want my money to make friends. So we invest in things that make sense and are going to get us a return, plus have that social impact, plus have that positive impact. So that's the more of the legacy part of it for me. And I know a lot of people think about that. They think about what, it's great to make money, but what's it doing?
So, okay, this is fantastic, because I think this is giving people a different viewpoint on building wealth with a positive purpose behind that. Can you tell us a little bit more about Money with Mission and when that started, what was the impetus for that to start, and what you've been doing under that brand so far?
Yeah. So Money with Mission was born after I realized that multifamily and doing that investing, while it brought returns, it was just not filling to me. Kind of like urology, it made money, I was doing good, it just didn't fill me. And I went to a course about learning about assisted living and making returns by building these really nice assisted living homes and giving elderly someplace to live and a more communal experience and not the big institutional type experience while they were there. And that was when Money with Mission essentially was born, that being able to invest with a mission, with being able to make somebody's life a lot better.
Okay.
So that
And
was
oh no,
my
go ahead.
first investment with Money with Mission, was an assisted living home that we do have in Shawnee, Kansas right now.
Okay. And I've actually looked at assisted living facilities because of that same reason. Just I thought it was a great way to give back and create a space that is just better than some of the bigger, senior living facilities that are out there, especially when you do the model that I saw was, you just outfit a larger single family home with a lot of rooms, maybe one level, and make sure it's very accessible, but then it feels like a home and not like a big kind of institution. So yeah. Do you still practice now, or you're full-time real estate?
Full-time real estate, part-time medicine.
You still work part-time.
I do. It very, very, very part-time, but keep my foot in there a little bit, helping out the practice that I left. So I left a practice that has been shorthanded forever, and I really care about them. So I go back and help here and there. Actually, I'm doing it telemedicine wise now. So yeah, intermittently, just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I guess the next question really is, the listeners, they haven't been exposed to maybe this type of thought process when it comes to making money is not just for making money. Like, you can grow it, you can invest it and still get something back from that, but do good and make sure your money is actually making an impact, right? So how would you suggest someone to even get started? Like, where should they look for these type of social impact initiatives? How do they know that something is going to be a good investment as well? What should somebody do to even get started with this?
So first of all, I think that people need to invest their money in alignment with their values. What do you want to get out of this life? What's important to you? And if making money is important to you and that is it, that's fine. Go do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've got nothing judgmental about that at all. If that's what you want, do it. If you think about making money and it kind of makes you nervous and gets you like, but that's so greedy, and there's something behind that we all have our money talk. What is about money that is negative in our brains? We all have something. And so for many of us, it's that I can't make money that doesn't do something for anybody. It's dirty to just make money. So getting around that mindset is important. And one way you might be able to easier is to think about how your money can help somebody else. So yes, my money needs to help me, but I also need my money to help somebody else. So I think you asked I forgot the question. How do people find that kind of?
Yeah, like how would they get started? What should they be researching or looking up? Who should they be reaching out to? Just what does that look like for someone just getting started, wanting to invest money in initiatives like this?
Well, there's a lot of different places to go. And so everything doesn't have to be about real estate. There are people who have stock funds that are really well investigated to make sure that they are having a sustainable and a positive social impact in the stock fund. So I have a podcast too, Nicole. I'm sorry, we were going to talk about that later, but I'm having somebody on my podcast coming up who has such a fund. So I think real estate is one of the best things to invest in for a lot of reasons. Tax-wise, there's just a lot of reasons around real estate, but sometimes it's kind of scary to think about. I got to put out $50,000, $100,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's kind of scary. It really is.
Yeah.
So, I think at minimum 10 for most things, 10,000, and sometimes you can get into a crowd fund for less. But those kinds of, when you really take those little baby steps, you don't see the return as much. So sometimes you got to dive into the deep end and make it a stretch, make it a bit of, if $5,000 is comfortable, go 10. If 10 is comfortable, go 15. Stretch yourself just a little bit so that you can see the difference. And then you just go like Money with Mission has projects everywhere. Like I said, if you listen to the podcast, there are different people doing a lot of different things that are having a positive social impact, that are good people. So one of the biggest things is vetting who you're investing with, which is the scariest part, because I'm going to tell you, I've invested with some folks that turned out not to be the best idea. It just wasn't good. Transparency is key. So if you ask people a question, and we know how to talk to people. When you talk to somebody, don't get scared because they're talking numbers. Don't get scared because they're talking things you don't really understand. That's okay. They should be able to make you understand it. This is one of my biggest things about medicine. When you go to the doctor should be able to make you understand, help you understand what they're talking about. It's not rocket science. You can understand it. If they're not trying to help you understand it, I wouldn't go there. I would just go to the next one. That needs to be a very, very transparent, and they should have all the time in the world to explain to you what this deal is, how this thing works. And if you decide not to invest in that, but come back later and say, hey, how'd that go? Tell me more, explain more, and just get to know that person before you give them your money, especially before you give them money outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with all of that advice. That is spot on. You definitely need to vet who you're going to potentially give a good chunk of money to. You want to make sure, especially when you're looking, I mean, even if you're not looking for it to be a social impact initiative, but especially when you're looking for it to be that, because, you're trying to give your money to make a difference. And then use somebody like Bernie Madoff's you, like it's hard and it's scary, but scared money don't make money.
Scared money sits in the bank and goes down in value. Guys, you got to get your money out there. Get it out there doing.
Oh man, especially with inflation now. Let's not even talk about that. But okay, so we talked about what you do, kind of how you got to where you are now, why you decided to focus on social initiative impacts. And that is part of your legacy. But I believe you have children or other relatives that you could potentially leave something to in the future. Is there anything that you have in place as a vehicle, or what if your family or your children don't want to be involved in the Money with Mission or other initiatives that you specifically are involved with now? How do you make sure that gets passed on to the next generation?
That's a great question, Nicole. So they don't have a choice. They have to. I'm kidding. So through all the years of getting ready to invest and investing, I mean, and we have all of our investments are in entities, number one. So we protect ourselves from liabilities by doing that. We also have a trust, so that things all feed into the trust, so that once I'm gone, the girls will have, I have two daughters. They are 27 and 30. Oh my gosh. And while they've learned a lot. They started actually playing Cash Flow 101 when they were in the 3rd and the 5th grades. So they know a lot about how money works, and they've gotten their own account set up. One of them being it's a whole life insurance policy that's got an addition and a rider attached to it that allows them to be able to borrow from that. It's called you can learn about it and called Just Be the Bank. Look that up and you'll understand more and more about this. It's a little hard to explain, but both of the girls have that kind of money where they can actually borrow from themselves and pay themselves back. So they are looking to buy a depreciating asset, so like a car. A car is not an asset. A car is a thing that goes down in value, right? So they don't have to buy it from and have a loan out to somebody paying somebody else money. They can borrow it from themselves and pay themselves back with interest. So that way they're making money that for themselves. They are the bank for that project.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we've learned. We have the trust that's going to be for them. They are very, very money conscious. And by that, I mean, they're not frivolous. This is just the way we learn. We play Cash Flow 101. We talk about money, which is key. We didn't keep it a secret. They know when things went bad with a real estate deal. They know why it went, we talk it through, what happened, how are we going to fix it, all these different things, so that they're not afraid to make a mistake, number one, and they know that mistakes are fixable. So that's actually the bigger legacy I want for them to understand, is that you can make a mistake, mistakes are fixable. You don't die from a mistake unless, yes, you can die from a mistake, but a money,
Yeah.
and I mean, you feel bad. I mean, it feels really bad, you guys. You know, when you make a mistake with your money, it feels bad, but it's not the end of the world. You get up and you figure out what the heck happened and you keep going forward. So that's the bigger legacy I want for my girls to have, is that money is a tool. You use it for what you use it for. You make mistakes with it. You come back from it. You just keep going.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that's what it is. It's really about the education and the mindset around it, because if they're not educated on it and they don't have that understanding of money, then no matter how much you leave them, they're going to squander it. Right.
Yes.
But yes.
One thing, my parents never talked to me about money. We didn't talk about it. It's not just like, you don't talk about money. That's not a subject that you bring up.
Yeah.
I think we have to change that mentality. We talk about money like we talk about everything else. Let's talk about it.
Exactly. Wait, don't go yet. Have you been looking for a way to get started in real estate investing, but you just don't know how? You need the Launchpad. It's brought to you by my company, Norvest Holdings. And the Launchpad is a free guide with a ton of resources I've compiled to help you invest into your first real estate syndication. It includes terminology, book resources, video explanations, all the information that you need. Don't know what a syndication is? I got you covered. How to find a good operator, how to even tell if a deal is good or not without having to know how to underwrite it all. It's all in there. The Launchpad is designed to help launch you into the next stage of your investing career and get you invested into your first multifamily syndication as a passive investor, meaning you can be a landlord and own a piece of a large apartment building, but still go about your day-to-day life without having to stop and learn every single detail about what's under the hood and how it all works. The link to the guide is in the show notes. Make sure you sign up today. Again, this is a free resource and guide. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me. Now let's finish up the show. Okay, wow, this conversation has been so good. I know that people have taken some, just something to think about and something to chew on from what we've been discussing. So now I'm going to ask you the last couple questions. These are questions I ask every guest. So Warren Buffett said, diversification is a protection against ignorance. I mean, I take that to mean that people basically diversify because they don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But what's your take on that?
I agree that if you don't know any one thing really, really well, then you should do a whole bunch of different things. And then with the ones that don't do well, you're okay because you can protect yourself against the ones that do. But if you know something really well, or you want to spend time to learn something really well, then put your eggs in that basket. Because I think he said this, put your eggs in one basket and protect that basket and watch that basket. Because you got your baskets all across the house. Not chickens aren't gonna get their eggs.
I know what you meant.
Wolves are gonna get those eggs. Like half your eggs are gonna be gone because you couldn't watch them all. Diversification. So, and the other thing is that, you get your financial advisor who tells you to diversify, and you're diversified in all stocks. So you're not really diversified. You have one asset class, stocks, maybe bonds, but it's all paper. Yeah. If you want to diversify and have some stocks over here, some real estate over there, some whatever. So I can't even, now I'm not even thinking different things that people invest in, gold, silver, all those kinds of things. Yeah. That's a bit of more diversification, but to be diversified in one class, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Everything you said, I agree. Okay, last question. In Monopoly, I know you play cash flow. I know you play Monopoly. So Boardwalk or Baltic Ave, and why?
Okay, Boardwalk is high. Baltic is down on the
low one. Yeah.
Why? I wasn't ready for that one. Let's see. Okay, it depends. It depends on where I am in life. Am I building? And this, you don't have to answer this question. If I'm building my portfolio I'm probably going to go Baltic because, and if I've built my portfolio and I'm ready to, enjoy the fruits of my labors, I'm going Boardwalk because I'm going to live there.
Nice. I like that. The first two answer one, but it made sense. Okay. I love that. Okay, so let's wrap up. I love the conversation. Can you tell people how to get in touch with you if they want to reach out and learn more about Money with Mission?
Absolutely. So we have the website, moneywithmission.com. We're in social, Instagram, Facebook. And I have a gift for your audience, for your listeners. I have an ebook, How to Build Wealth That Outlives You. And you can email me at wealth@moneywithmission.com to get that. And I spent some time on that, writing that ebook, and I'm pretty proud of it. So I'd be happy and excited to share it and get your feedback on it.
Oh, that's great. Actually, I'm gonna email wealth@moneywithmission.com because I want to read it too.
Thank you.
But thank you so much, Felecia, for joining us, Dr. Felecia Froe. And everyone, thank you again for tuning in tonight. Good night.
Thank you, Nicole.
Did you love this episode of Share the Wealth Show? Be sure to connect with Nicole by following her on LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. If you picked up any of the gems that were dropped by today's guest, make sure you not only put them in your bag, but if you know of someone who would benefit from this information, don't keep it to yourself. Share the wealth and make sure to leave us a rating and review. We'll see you for next week's episode. Subscribe so you'll be notified.